Hello, Alycats and new viewers. What a lame intro. Who came up with that idea? Today, apparently, this weird geek Alyssa is reviewing this horrific, terrible new series on Netflix called A Series of Unfortunate Events, which you should not see because it's about the terrible, annoying Baudelaire children. I am so sorry about that, guys. Count Olaf has apparently learned how to disguise himself just like me. So whatever he says, just reverse psychologize it. That's not even a word. So let's get on with the actual review for A Series of Unfortunate Events. This is Netflix's latest show, and this is an adaptation of the very popular book series by Lemony Snicket. And to be honest, I actually preferred A Series of Unfortunate Events over Harry Potter as a child, so I had really high expectations for this series. Plus, Neil Patrick Harris is Count Olaf, so double those expectations, and I'm very happy to say that those were met and exceeded. I adored this show. The vibe of this series is Wes Anderson meets Tim Burton, and I love it. If you love quirky, dark, yet humorous projects, then this is definitely up your alley. If you don't know what A Series of Unfortunate Events is about, it's about three young children, the Baudelaires, Violet, Klaus, and Sunny, who have recently become orphans because their parents have perished in a fire. So they're placed in the care of their distant relative, Count Olaf, and he is a very, very evil man. The series is about these children being shuffled from home to different guardians, and how Count Olaf keeps trying to get the children because he wants their fortune. They are rich, he wants their fortune, he'll do anything to get this fortune. Whether that's dressing up as a different person, killing people, he'll do whatever it takes to get his hands on the Baudelaire fortune. And I have to say, this series is very faithful to the books. This first season covers the first 4 books in the series: The Bad Beginning, The Reptile Room, The Wide Window, and The Miserable Mill, and it was very faithful to the books. I was pleasantly surprised by how faithful this series is to the books because the film I was not a huge fan of. This, though, was perfection. It captured the essence of the books, added a few new twists to the series, but still remained faithful. Now let's talk about the acting. Neil Patrick Harris is
Sorry, I couldn't find anything like that.
I'm not talking to you! Neil Patrick Harris is everything as Count Olaf. He is amazing. Whether he's dressing up as a woman, or he's pretending to be a boat captain, or if he's just his regular evil self, he is magnificent. And when he breaks out in song and dance, it just makes your heart feel all warm and fuzzy because Neil Patrick Harris is so talented when it comes to musicality that is just such a treat. The Baudelaire orphans are portrayed by 3 children, and as many of you know, children can be iffy in projects, but these 3 kids are very talented, and they really did embody the Baudelaire children to me. Like, when I read the books, these kids are what I basically envisioned the Baudelaire children being. And they each capture the nuances of the children and make it their own. Violet, who is played by Melina Weissman, has special skill where she can basically invent anything she puts her mind to, and she helps the group get out of scraps. Klaus is played by Louis Hines, and Klaus is a bookworm, and he is very knowledgeable, very smart, and he is the one that helps the group out by telling them this word means this, and telling them so-and-so happened so-and-so. He's the knowledge, he's the brain of the group. And Sunny the baby is played by Presley Smith, and oh my gosh, is she adorable. Let me just say, Sunny is adorable. And Sunny has the very unusual skill of having teeth that are able to pretty much cut through anything, and that actually helps the children out a lot during the series. I also adored how they added Lemony Snicket as the narrator to the series, and they cast Patrick Warburton, who is a fantastic voice actor and actor in his own right, and he really added to the series because Lemony Snicket frequently broke the 4th wall during the series by saying, this and this happens, and this happens, and that's something else I really love about this series. This series is constantly spoiling itself. If you hate spoilers, this series is going to drive you nutty because the theme song changes for each book that they cover, and it does spoil the books. Okay, it spoils the events of the books in the theme song, and sometimes they'll be talking about something in the episode that will spoil something further on in the episode. So if you hate spoilers, you're going to really, really dislike this series just because it's constantly foreshadowing what's going to happen. But I actually really love that, and I thought it was a really smart move. The visuals of this series are gorgeous, whether that's a very bright, vibrant house or town, or a very grim and dark environment. You feel like you're there with the Baudelaires. Each location is just so aesthetically pleasing to the eye, even if it's an ugly location. Like, you feel like you're there at Lake Lachrymose. You feel like you're in the reptile room with the Baudelaire children. You feel like you're at the Lucky Smells Mill. It's just so incredible how they captured these locations and made it feel so unique and yet so familiar to people who have read the books. The pacing of the series is very quick, and I mean, having to go through 4 books in 8 episodes, you have to have quick pacing, but it works with this series. They did it very well. They cover all the bases while still being very fast paced, and I commend the showrunners for their skill with creating these episodes and pacing them the way they did. So A Series of Unfortunate Events is definitely a must-watch if you're a fan of the book series. Even if you're not, I think you'll have a lot of fun with this because this is a very funny series in a dark way. I was constantly laughing because of what the characters said, lines that were said, events that were happening. I had so much fun, and even if you have no knowledge of the series, I think you can glean a lot of fun from this. And I do recommend you watch this, especially if you're a fan of Wes Anderson and Tim Burton films. This is definitely up your alley. The acting's great, the pacing is fantastic, the visuals are gorgeous. I seriously can't really find anything wrong with this series. It's so good. I loved it. I highly recommend it. You should not like this stupid video. You should not click on the floating face over here to subscribe to this Idiotic Geeks channel. You should not leave a comment saying if you've seen this horrible TV show or not. And you should definitely not click the bell down there to alert you every time one of these stupid videos is uploaded. I hate this chick's channel. Goodbye.